A gunman, innocent people scrambling for safety.
This happened this year in the middle of the day, in the middle of Phoenix's biggest and busiest library.
And tonight, our investigation exposes it's hardly an isolated incident. We found a mass shooting threat, stabbing, sex assaults, and a woman making porn.
Even our own reporter surrounded and threatened, nearly attacked. So is the city of Phoenix doing enough to keep you safe at Burton Barr Library? Here's investigator Dave Biskabing. Shocking video taken at the Burton Barr Public Library. A fight breaking out with an armed man.
It's January 5th, 2019. An armed man fighting with security in the elevator. People running in fear. The suspect, a homeless convicted felon and sex offender.
Police say Good Samaritan got the gun away from him before it went off.
The Burton Barr Library on Central, just north of I-10, is surrounded by a big public park. It's the central library of the Phoenix system. 5 floors, 280,000 square feet, 2,000 visitors on average a day. And on average, it gets a lot of police calls.
Officers respond out here all the time.
Phil Roberts just retired as a Phoenix sergeant a few months ago. He oversaw this area. And he's right. Officers are out here a lot. At least 900 police calls since 2015 to the library and its immediate area.
Does that surprise you?
Not at all, not at all. In fact, that's normal.
Many of them serious. 69 assaults, another 106 fights, 130 thefts, burglaries, or robberies, plus sex crimes, stabbings, drugs, even a mass shooting threat in 2015.
I've been down here many, many times, but one of the ones that really sticks out to me was up on the 4th floor where they have most of the computers and things like that, where 2 people end up getting in a fight. Guy pulled out a switchblade and stabbed the individual in the chest.
The library also keeps internal records called customer behavior forms. They document 130 customers suspended or banned in recent years. Some of the incidents, difficult to read. Some of the punishments, difficult to understand. Like only a 1-year suspension for a man touching himself while watching another person use the bathroom, and then later looking under the stalls at other people. Or a 6-month suspension for a nude man masturbating in the bathroom. Or a 1-week suspension for a man who exposed himself to a man, woman, and child.
We do get a lot of, I would refer to as a lot of sexual assault calls out here.
We even discovered videos of this woman who claims she filmed porn inside the library. We're cutting the clip here because, well, you get the idea. And she tweeted repeatedly about getting busted in 2014, but there's no record of her in the customer behavior forms.
Does Phoenix feel that the Burton Barr Library is safe?
Yes, absolutely. We make the safety of our visitors here a priority.
Lee Franklin is a library spokesperson. The city's head librarian, Rita Hamilton, did not make herself available for an interview. They say the library has a, quote, robust security system with 16 security officers. So we specifically asked about the January incident, how an armed sex offender wanted felon walked into the library with a gun undetected.
How can the public be certain that something like that isn't going to happen again?
Well, let me be clear, we did stop that. Our processes and our practices and the way that we approach that, everything worked.
What we didn't mention before, an innocent bystander had to help security wrestle the gun out of his hand.
I mean, I think there's probably people that saw that incident would never ever come back here again. I mean, could you blame them?
Well, I would hope that they would, because again, that was an instance where everything that we have in place that immediately addresses that worked.
We also found the library seems to miss obvious violations of their own policies and illegal activity. Inside, things like a man rolling a big batch of cigarettes on a table, this woman with multiple dogs. Outside, just steps from the building, alcohol, drug paraphernalia, people like this man passed out.
But there is such a huge drug and alcohol problem. You're going to find syringes, broken methamphetamine pipes, other forms of drug paraphernalia down here.
Roberts found a couple of ripped soda can bottoms, likely used to cook heroin.
Again, the problem, 99% of the problems you're going to have down here are going to be related to homeless and transient type people. And they basically use the park as a staging location. They will go there, they'll deal drugs there. That's occurring right now as you and I are speaking. I guarantee you that's occurring 200 yards away on the other side of this building. That's going on there right now.
And almost exactly 200 yards away on the other side of the building, this happened to me at 11:24 in the morning on October 23rd, on one of the last days of our reporting process. I was walking around the library taking photos when a group of 3 men hustled over, surrounded me. This man had a large knife with a brass knuckle grip in a holster on his hip. They demanded to look at my photos, thinking I took one of them. I showed them I did not. But this man, belligerent and drunk, didn't believe me. He stood screaming, threatening me, refusing to let me walk away, literally touching his face to my own. At one point, he got so aggressive, making such violent threats to assault me, you can see I carefully pulled out my phone and pressed record in case he did.
Look, I'm putting this in my pocket. See it? I don't give a f***. You ain't got no right to be taking no pictures of me, homie.
I'm not taking pictures of you.
I'm not
taking a picture of you. I'm walking away.
Yeah, you're a danger to me, because I don't know.
I'm not, but I didn't
Because
take a
you
picture
dressed
of
in
you.
a hillbilly suit and you white and you think
I
you
didn't take a picture of you.
And you got this up. Look, man, you are a danger. You're a danger to me. You think that's okay? You're trying to demoralize me, homie.
No,
Take your face off. Let me up.
You all right? It all lasted for more than 3 minutes. No one from the library security staff noticed or responded.
There were city resources and a city presence that immediately or very quickly intervened.
She's literally talking about a ground crew worker who walked over after it happened.
And you had access to someone intervening and helping.
You mean a ground crew foreman who came over after it was over just to make sure that everything was okay, but after?
Right.
That's not a presence.
Well,
that's a ground crew foreman who shouldn't have to be counted on to do that.
That is part of the public service.
I'd like to know who that was so I could thank him for going far above and beyond what he should ever have to do.
I mean, do you think that, this is, we're blowing something out of proportion about the safety of what goes around here?
No, not at all. I mean, just yesterday you were down here trying to film something or take a single photograph.
Take a photograph.
And you were basically accosted and almost victimized. That happens every day. That's not a fluke. That happens all the time down here.
So what can be done? What should be done? Both short-term and long-term. The issues of drugs, homelessness, mental illness, and the gentrification of downtown make it complicated.
To try and get a handle on the problems out here, it just seems like there's no easy solution.
There's really not. It's like, I always refer to it as like trying to squeeze Jell-O. I mean, you're going to squeeze it, but it's still going to come out in your hand.
And even though library officials say Burton Barr is safe, at the end of our interview, they admitted they could use more help.
Yes, the library wants to do more in the community, and security would help us do that.
I'm investigator Dave Biskobing, ABC 15, Arizona.
Well, we've been investigating and requesting records about the library for months. And a final important point to remember here. In September, due to safety concerns, the city decided to place an off-duty uniformed officer on site 40 hours a week. The library is open 64 hours a week.
A change at the top.